Doctor, I just don't know what to do. I mean, I'm seeing it everywhere I go. It's stuck in my head.
I see. I've seen this before. I'd like to try an exercise with you. I'm going to hold up several different comic books, and you're going to tell me what you see. Do you think you can do that for me?
Anything that you think will help. I just can't live like this.
Very good, Mr. Lettuce. That's what we like to hear. Here's the first one. What do you see?
Avengers number 4. First Silver Age appearance of Captain America.
Okay. And the second?
That's Avengers number 4. The first Silver Age appearance of Captain America.
Okay. And the last one. Tell me what you see.
That's Avengers number 4. The first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. Wait a minute.
Buenos morning, everyone. My name's Hagen, and welcome back to Lettuce Comics. Now, I hate clickbait, and I know you hate clickbait, so I just wanted to get that first book out of the way. This was an insane pickup for me. But, like one of the great poets of our time once said, it ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. So, what happened? How did I get to own that? Will my husband ever return from war? This past weekend, I went to the amazing HeroesCon in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll talk about the show way more in depth here in just a little bit, but you guys are here to see the con and to see what I picked up. I am so happy that I was able to go to this amazing show and bring you guys along with me to HeroesCon in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wasn't that awesome? I had the best time at this con. Without a doubt, the best comic book convention experience I've ever had. Just a little bit about HeroesCon if you're not familiar. It takes place in downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a gorgeous city. The convention itself is held in Charlotte Convention Center, and it has multiple different floors with giant halls on each floor, and each of those halls can be expanded or shrunken depending on the size of the event that you're going to. So generally, every event there feels like it's in a space that fits it, which is honestly the main issue that I have with my local Comic-Con, SC Comic-Con. Now, don't get me wrong. Borderlands puts on a wonderful show. I love it so much. I love going there. I've been there the past 3 years, I think. The only issue is, it's the biggest comic book convention in South Carolina, but it doesn't have really a venue to match. I feel like SC Comic-Con outgrew the TD Convention Center where it's held a couple years ago. And so there are probably the same number of vendors there, but it's in a smaller area, so everything's a little bit more claustrophobic and cramped. So when you're a larger person like me, it can be somewhat claustrophobic. That was not an issue here. You guys saw in the footage, there was room to spread out. There weren't people all trying to look through the same bins, 6 feet away from other people looking through bins at different vendors. It was spacious and awesome. The vendors that they had there were amazing as well. I would guess it was about 90-10 comic book related stuff versus not comic book related stuff. And even the non-comic related things that were there were nerd culture tangentially related. So it didn't feel like there were a bunch of out of place vendors there like has happened at other cons before. We've all been to comic book conventions with 4 tables of comic books and the rest of the convention floor is all toys. I love toys. I'm a man-child. But if I'm going to a comic convention, that's what I'm going there to look for. So it was really, really awesome to see that sort of split at a convention like this. To top it off, I was able to go with a friend of mine. I don't know if she wants her name out in public like this, so I'm just going to call her Elle. I stayed at her house the night before so that I didn't have to get a hotel, and we just had a blast there. I was really kind of nervous about going there with Elle because she's not a comic book person per se. She has some, but most of them are ones that I've given her. But she is a giant nerd, and there was plenty of stuff for the two of us to do there. There were bins galore for me to look through, and she really loved the artist alley. There were a ton of artists there. As far as getting actual digging footage, I wasn't really able to do that, and the reason for that is twofold. The first reason is, this is the first con that I went to with a strategy. Before, I just kind of went wherever the wind took me. This time, I actually brought a printed out list. On that list, it had all of the issues of Captain America Volume 1 and Tales of Suspense that I don't already have, and it had a couple of other big books on there that I wanted to pick up that weren't Captain America related. And so my plan was to walk out of there with either 200 small books or one really big one and then some other cool stuff. Can you guess which way the wind blew on that one? So I walked in there with a game plan. The first thing that I wanted to do was walk around the entire convention floor and look at everybody's wall books because I was looking for an Avengers 4. The plan was if I didn't find one in a decent price range for me, then I would go back around and start digging through bins, half-price key bins, dollar bins, Silver Age bins, anything that they had there that was of interest to me. I would go look through and show the vendor my list and see if they had any other books that were on my list. So because I did that, I didn't get any digging footage before I made my first purchase at this show. The second reason why I didn't get a ton of footage is because you guys have no scale for how large I am, but I am a 6'1", 300-pound man. And I sweat like a monster. I hope some of you guys can relate to this because then it means I'm not just some sort of freak. But whenever I go out comic book hunting, if I'm looking through bins for more than 5 minutes, I start to sweat profusely, and I can't do anything to stop it. One of my friends says that my natural harmonic frequency changes when I get around comic books, and I think he might have something to that. The other option is that my BMI is too close to room temperature. I'm not sure. Either way, it's really difficult to hold a camera while I'm flipping through bins and trying to clear the crap out of my eyes. So in order for me to have a decent time, I had to sort of forego the digging footage. And I am really genuinely sorry about that. I wanted to get you guys awesome digging footage, but it just didn't quite work out this time. Regardless of all of that, me and Elle had a great time at this con. And I walked away with some really cool stuff. I'm not gonna tease you anymore. Let's start with the big one. This is my copy of Avengers number 4. I cannot believe that I own this book. So I want to tell you guys about how I got it. Like I said before, the plan was to walk around the convention floor and find a booth that had one of these for sale. There were a bunch of them there, but vendors at comic conventions tend to bring like their high grade, really expensive stuff. And anything above a 2.0, I can't afford. And I'm not really willing to put that much money into what is effectively 60-year-old paper. It means more to me than that, don't get me wrong, but it's 60-year-old paper. So I had to be kind of smart about it. One vendor showed me a book that was like a 5.0. It was graded in a slab, and I believe he had 3,500 on it. And I told him, that's really unfortunate because I was really looking for like a 1.8 or a 2.0. And he said, well, I do have a Golden Age reprint of Avengers number 4, and it's only $500, and it's in really great shape. It's like a 7 or an 8. And I said, that's really cool. I'm gonna circle around and maybe come back to you. I had no intention of coming back to this man. If I'm dropping $500 on a comic book, it's gonna be the real thing. I don't care how old the reprint is. If I'm gonna spend that much money, it has to be on the actual thing, or to me, it doesn't matter as much. Now, if you are somebody that has a Golden Age reprint and you're completely satisfied with that, great. I am so happy for you. That's just not me. I wanted the actual thing, and I would have been happy walking away from this convention without a book that looked like this if it meant that I got to save my money for the actual thing. There was another vendor there with a 3.5 for $1,300. There were some other vendors with sort of mid-grade copies for in the 2,000 range. And again, every time I saw those price stickers on the book, I had to walk away. I've seen a 2.5 on my comic shop for $780. So I knew that I could get a 2.5 for around $800 if I waited long enough, and I was willing to do that. But then I went up to this guy's booth, MJ Comics. He was super nice to me. I saw this book up on the wall. The first thing that I asked him was, is that a reprint? And he said no, and he brought it down from the wall, and you can see the issue number and the price on the cover. The Golden Age reprints don't have those. The next thing that I asked him was, is it complete? And he said, yeah, but it's beat up. And it is beat up. Like, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a tear, not a big one, but a tear near Submariner's face. The spine is chewed up. And the weird thing about this book is that the staples are fully on the back. Like, that's not a misroll. It does have spine roll, but it was stapled on the back of the book. I guess that's just 60s Marvel QC, but it doesn't bother me at all. After I asked him if it was complete, he offered to let me take it out of the bag and look through it. And I told him, that's really nice of you, but I would really rather you do that. And while it's out, would you mind if I took some pictures of it? He said, sure, that's absolutely fine. The reason why I took pictures of it is because In my first video, I mentioned this being the #1 book that I wanted to pick up, and Jeff from Comic Spa commented and said that he would lend me his services if I were ever able to pick this one up. So what I did was took pictures of this and then Instagrammed Jeff from Comic Spa, sent him all the pictures that I could of it, and said, hey, what do you think about this? He asked me, is it complete? I told him yes. He asked me, are there extra staples? I said nope. He asked me if the cover or centerfold were detached. I told him no. They're barely hanging on, but they are attached. And he asked me what the price was on it. And around this time, the vendor came up to me while I was looking at and taking pictures of this book, and he said, it's got 600 on it. I would do 5. So I texted Jeff and said he just told me that he would do 5 on it. And Jeff told me, it's been well loved, but I think he's giving you a fair deal. And that was really all I needed to hear. So I handed the man $500 and then some dollars for some books that I'm about to show you, and I got my copy of Avengers #4. That's not the only thing that I picked up from this booth though. Let me show you the rest of the stuff that I got. The first two are Captain America run filler books that I needed to plug in some really annoying holes in my collection. They are number 166 and number 179. They're both in pretty decent condition. They're a little dirty, and yes, they are wrinkled, and my god, yeah, they have spine ticks. I don't care. They're complete, the staples are there, there's no rust, there's no mold, and they were very $5. So I'm more than happy to get these. Same story here with this one. Run filler that I needed. I had all the books surrounding this one except for this one, and it really got under my skin, so I knew that I really wanted to pick this guy up. This has an appearance from the Golden Archer, nobody cares. And like the last one, it's got some wrinkles, it's got spine ticks, but I don't care at all. I needed this for run filler. I wanted to own the book, so I'm really happy to be able to add Captain America #179 to my collection. I was also able to pick up 2 Silver Age books from this guy. The first one is this. This is Captain America #107. It's a key in that it's an iconic cover, but it's not a key for anything in the story. It's pretty much just the cover. This one is a little worse for wear, I will say. You can see down here in the corner that there is a ton of color rub on it. I suspect that that might be water damage. There's even, like, the little corner is missing down there. But I just wanted the book. I just wanted the book. I believe his sticker price on this was $10. And I know that this book on my comic shop regularly goes for $30. So if I can get a book in this condition that I'm happy with for 33% of what I think the fair market value is, that doesn't bother me at all. $10 for a Silver Age Captain America book, absolutely here for that. The last book that I was able to pick up has been on my want list for a long time, and it is this. This is Captain America #110, the first appearance of Madam Hydra, who later becomes Viper. The cover art is done by Jim Steranko, and it is gorgeous. Now, I know that this book in like a mid-grade can go for $100 to $150. The sticker price on this book was $60. And I don't really know why the sticker price was $60. This book's colors are incredible, and it's really sharp for a Silver Age book. I've got no complaints. I wasn't gonna tell him that I thought he was undervaluing what he had, but I'm really happy to be able to pick this up for what I thought was a really good bargain. So all in all, a really great booth to visit first, MJ's Comics. If you see them at any Comic-Cons, dig through their bins. They have awesome stuff. And I was able to get Captain America #166 and 179, 107, 110, and Avengers #4 for $580 out the door. I think I got a steal of a deal. You guys let me know what you think. After that magical fever dream of a booth, I knew that one of my strategies was locked in. I got the one big book. I could look for some smaller ones, but if that Avengers number 4 was the only thing that I picked up, I knew that I would leave this con happy, and that's just a really light and airy feeling. It was so nice to be able to sort of relax after that and just enjoy the con. Just enjoy the experience with me and my friend and look around and see what there is to see. So I only ended up buying books from one more booth, but I'm really, really happy with what I was able to pick up. And the last book that I'm about to show you makes childhood Hagen happier than that Avengers 4. I'll show you what I mean. From this booth, I got 3 books. The first one is this. This is Sandman number 2. First appearance of John Dee, second appearance of Dream. I don't really care about the key significance. I want the first 12 issues of this because I read the first one and I'm in love with it. I've already cracked this one open and read it. It's amazing. I'm going to do a newbie review on the Sandman series, but you know, spoiler alert, nobody's lying to you. This series is awesome. And one of my goals was to get a Sandman number 1 or Sandman number 8, first appearance of Death, because those are the 2 big ones in that first 12 issue run. I knew that my previous purchases would sort of price me out of that, but I'm really happy to be able to sort of start my Sandman run with Sandman number 2. The next book I was able to pick up was this. This is Swamp Thing number 7, and it's a meeting of Swamp Thing and Batman. This was the first thing that I cracked open and read through when I got home. I just finished volume 1 and 2 of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, so I wanted to see sort of where this whole thing started. And I wasn't disappointed. It was definitely more comic booky than Alan Moore's run is, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I enjoyed it immensely. And the cover is great. What I will say about this book is that it is chewed up. The staples aren't in great shape. The spine is in pretty rough shape. There were interior folds that were like ironed on and I'm not sure are ever going to be able to come out. There's just a sort of smattering of dust over the top of it, but it passes my eye test, which is, yep, looks cool. And that's all I need it to do. So I'm really happy to add Swamp Thing number 7 to my burgeoning DC collection. So what I'm about to show you is the last book that I picked up. As much as my copy of Avengers 4 makes me happy and I love it so much, this last book gives me a feeling of peace. And I'll tell you why. And that book is this. This is Daredevil number 37. When I was a kid, I had 2 Silver Age books in my collection. One was Avengers number 56. It's this cover. And the other one was this. As a kid, I was ecstatic to be able to own a book that was printed in 1964. I had this book. It was way lower grade than this. The staples were popped. There was a chunk missing out of it. But I read that thing like a monster because I was so proud that I could have something so cool. I really liked Daredevil as a kid. I didn't get the whole Doctor Doom thing because my first introduction to the Fantastic Four was that one. So Doctor Doom wasn't really my thing. He's grown on me since then, but I'm not sure if he's ever going to outgrow that first impression that I had of him. Sacrilege, I know, but the childhood mind, what are you going to do? So when I started up my comic book collecting journey again, I knew that I wanted to get as much Captain America as I could get my hands on. And I went on to Reddit r/comicswap and put up a couple of books for trade because I thought that would be fun. This book was one of those. And I ended up trading it for Captain America number 241, First Battle of Captain America and the Punisher, and Tales of Suspense 98, the First Battle of Captain America and Black Panther. Now, I still have both of those books. I love both of them. But it's always really bothered me that I gave this one away. I was really angry with myself because after the initial high of getting those 2 books, I was kind of left with a feeling of emptiness, I guess you could call it, because I let one of my childhood favorite books go. I still couldn't tell you why I did that, but I did. So I decided that I needed to get another copy of this, and it's been on my want list for months because I've been trying to find it for not $40. And this was in the bin for $20. And it's a little dinged up, you know, it's from 1964, but I read through it as soon as I got home, and I have the same feeling now as I did then. There's even a surprise Galactus appearance in this book, and the splash page with him on it is phenomenal. So even though I was able to pick up a copy of Avengers number 4, I think this might be my favorite pickup from this con. I don't know. There's something about replacing a childhood book that gives me a sense of satisfaction that getting a book that I never thought I'd be able to own doesn't give me. To make it even better, I was able to get all of these books for $50, which I think is a great deal. So I had a super successful HeroesCon. I was able to pick up 2 Captain America run fillers that I really needed, 2 awesome Silver Age Captain America covers, start my Sandman collection, add on to my Swamp Thing collection, replace one of my childhood favorite books, and complete a collecting goal that I never thought I'd be able to complete. I owe Jeff a tremendous thanks. I never would have had the courage to buy that book if it hadn't have been for his sort of steady hand helping me through the process. And as a bonus, he said he's willing to press and clean it for me, which is just awesome because I know how good it's going to look once Jeff gets his magical little fingies on it. One other thing before I leave. As I was getting ready to walk out of this con, more happy than any time I've ever left a con ever, I was able to meet this guy, Jacob from Bone Claws Comics. Jacob is a brand new YouTuber, and I really enjoy his channel because he talks about stuff that he wants to talk about. He talks about things that he's read recently. One of his most recent videos is his childhood favorite book. That's, no offense, Jacob, a nothing book. You can get it in a dollar bin, but because of what it means to him, that's one of his house fire books. That's one of his books that he's going to get out no matter what. And I really enjoy genuine people and channels like that. To top it off, he left me this comment, and I was shell-shocked when I saw that. I mean, I'm a nobody, you know? I talk about comic books in my room. I scream at my phone. But what I'm doing inspired this guy to, you know, follow his passion, and that makes me really happy that I've already sort of started to give back to this community that's given me so much. So being able to meet with this guy meant an immense amount to me. I actually was able to give him a book, and if you check out the video that I just linked, you'll be able to see what I gave him. Jacob, I know you're watching this. It was a pleasure meeting you and your family. I'm at an absolute loss for words. Thank you so much. And everybody should go check out Bone Claws Comics, Jacob's channel, because he makes the kind of content that I want to see. Passionate, enthusiastic people talking about things that they love. It's just that simple. So, man, I don't even know how to wrap this up. I had a great time at HeroesCon 2024. I was able to pick up a book that I never thought I was going to be able to get and fill in, you know, parts of comic book runs. I was able to hang out with my friend, meet new friends like Jacob. All in all, it was just a fantastic experience. I cannot wait to go back there next year and meet more of you. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for you. What was your favorite pickup of mine? Was it Avengers number 4? Was it Sandman number 2? Was it that awesome Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing cover? Let me know. Did you go to HeroesCon? Tell me about your experience. I'm really enjoying living vicariously through people that also went to this con and seeing all the different experiences that everybody had. If you didn't go to HeroesCon, what's your favorite con experience that you went to, and what is the thing that makes a comic book convention good for you? Please remember to like, comment, I love comments, and subscribe if you want to. You can also follow me on Instagram at lettuce.comics. I'd love to talk to more of you and get to know every single one of you. I had an absolute blast at HeroesCon. I'm having the time of my life doing this, and I could not be more thankful to every single one of you that's watching this. So, until next time, thank you so much. Bye.